So we're going to take a dive into the libido and talk a little bit about what influences it. And hormones may not surprise you at the top of the list. For women is very impactful. So when we experience a decrease in estrogen, it has a pretty significant impact on our sex drive. And this can happen for lots of different reasons. If you have a thyroid condition, or some people have polycystic ovary syndrome, these are the kinds of things that can affect your hormone levels. So can diabetes. There are surprising amounts of things that can impact your hormones, not to mention your monthly cycle or the cessation of your monthly cycle, otherwise known as menopause. So hormones can create a lot of variability in a person's sex drive, and that makes it unpredictable sometimes for some people. So stress and anxiety, another huge variable that influences our libido. And anxiety in particular is rampant. There are so many women that struggle with anxiety, and anxiety actually releases cortisol, which can have a negative impact, stress and anxiety, on your sex drive as well. So these are not small things. And if you are struggling with any kind of mental health condition or physical health condition that requires a medication that alters your hormones or your blood flow, this is another variable that can negatively impact your sex drive. Antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications play funny tricks. Sometimes you can become very aroused and excited and interested in sex, but you're unable to reach orgasm, which is very unpleasant and frustrating, and can cause some confusion in your relationship if you don't understand that that is a side effect of the medications. So then we've got good old-fashioned body image, which is also heavily influenced by comparing ourselves to others. Media does a good job of giving us some doubts about whether or not we're enough. And maybe you were raised in a family that commented about your body, or you have friends, or you're surrounded by people that give you the sense that the way you're built is not the way you should be built. And the crazy thing about our body that I find really fascinating is we have so little control over so many of the things that we tend to target about our bodies. Some people are like, oh, my nose is too big, or oh, my breasts aren't the shape that I want them to be, or, I'm not as tall as I'd like to be, or those kinds of things. And the reality is we have zero control over so much of that. And we give ourselves a really hard time about who we are and how we are. And it's part of the culture. It's baked into our culture, unfortunately. So we have to do the work of finding our way out of that negative maze and the way that we are seeing. So we also have relationship dynamics. It is very impactful on your sex life if you are not getting along well, if there is tension, if there is negativity, and if you have feelings of resentment, or you are blaming each other for something, or you have a lot of unresolved issues, that is not a great precursor to having sex. So those issues are going to need to be addressed for some couples in order to have any motivation to be close. The last thing, I did mention media, but some people really struggle with the morality around sex and messages that you got about having sex early in life. Maybe you discovered the joys of self-pleasuring in the bathtub with the water flowing innocently out of the spout, and you thought, oh, this feels good. And somebody came in and said, what are you doing? Stop doing that. And you internalized a message that you are not supposed to be deriving pleasure from that body part. Those kinds of messages stick with people, and sometimes you have to do some conscious work to overcome the impact of those messages.